Do you feel that your daily life has become a boring, soulless grind? Do you live for the weekend? Do you have unfulfilled dreams and fantasies which you attempt to satisfy using the internet? Do you find yourself watching videos of other people doing interesting things? Why? Why do we do this? In this video, I will try to partially answer this question and give some of my insights into this perennial issue, that is, of soulless living. We will see some ways of possibly overcoming this and truly living out one's life with heart and soul. Let's look into it, shall we? First, an experiment. If you're watching this video and are a fan of this channel, chances are that you've played Skyrim, the RPG video game from 2011. And if you haven't, that's okay. This is just a small test. Close your eyes and listen to this music. What did you feel? If you're anything like me, you may have felt nostalgia or wanderlust, an evoking of a desire for exploration, to wander the world. If you didn't feel this or don't have this connection with Skyrim, that's fine too. But certainly if you've at all played video games, and especially RPGs during your life, there must be some song off of some soundtrack which evokes these feelings in you. Or if you haven't played video games, there must be some movie or some album which evokes this in you. It's just that the Skyrim soundtrack generally encapsulates this quite well for Gen Z, which I am a part of. In any case, the feeling is what's important. I am talking about the feeling of the wonder of exploration, a curiosity about your lived experience, a genuine curiosity, an awe at the vastness of life, at its turnings around and twists of fate, at the ephemerality and lightness of it all, although sometimes it does feel quite so heavy. A wonder that so much beauty and complexity can arise from such simple laws, be them physical or mental. In my opinion, life should at its best feel like this, like a wonderful and beautiful thing which you are exploring. And this is not at all referring to specific special moments or to grand journeys undertaken once in a lifetime, and then only remembered nostalgically. And it's also not referring to getting all your desires fulfilled and feeling wonderful because, oh, it's so amazing. That's not what I mean. I think that beauty and wonder are to be found here and now, in our daily living, in the very world that is around us. Even when you're washing your dishes, even when you're doing the laundry, when you're cleaning the house or whatever, when you're doing the chores, talking to your kids, doing boring stuff. I think it's to be found there. Not somewhere else, and not somewhen else, but here and now. This may all sound very weird and mystical and sort of woo-woo talk, but let me explain. Oftentimes in life, we find ourselves stuck in a rut, without a seeming way out. In these situations, it is essential to analyze our environment, both internal and external, and understand exactly what is going on. We must have two things in mind. First, that the vast majority of things is totally out of our conscious control. And second, that nonetheless, we do have the power to choose our actions, to choose where our life will go. We have absolute liberty in every situation, and therefore also absolute responsibility. It's important to act carefully in these situations when your life is feeling like it's stuck, and not to take hasty decisions. But an analysis is nonetheless important. What should we analyze? Well, I think it's resumed very neatly in the following question. Does your path have a heart? And by that I mean, are you living genuinely? Are you living beautifully? Are you living to the best of your capability? Your life does not have to be perfectly fulfilling in every single aspect, and in fact it will only be so when you stop clinging to the desire of being fulfilled or satisfied. Enlightenment, basically. Meanwhile, it's useful to accept dissatisfaction as a part of the human condition, and to work from there. We are human beings. We make mistakes, even enlightened human beings. We aren't perfect most of the time, and that's okay. Learning from our mistakes is the most important thing. Of course, this is not an excuse not to try your best all the time, but allow yourself room to be wrong, to make errors, since that's the only way that you can learn is by making mistakes. In order to find yourself, you must first be lost. I think that this quote encapsulates what I'm trying to say quite well. Once we have allowed ourselves to be human and accepted the human condition, then there must come the question, am I living according to my true will? And by this I mean the divine will, capital W, not your personal desires, but the destiny which has been imposed upon you to follow. This does not necessarily mean to live exactly in the way that our minds envision our life should be like. Life simply is. It is manifesting itself now, and it is already perfect. For God is perfect, and there is no other God. Authenticity, I think, is the most important concept here. We cannot control the circumstances we are born into, nor the way that responsibilities will be imposed on us throughout our lives. However, in every single situation, there is the possibility of acting authentically, acting in line with one's true will, with one's true deep values and beliefs. The Romans would ask if you were following your genius, or in New Age jargon, are you listening to your higher self? Are you following its commands, or are you knowingly headed on the wrong path? Have you chosen mediocrity over authenticity? Sometimes this means that we must make drastic changes in our way of living, or it may just mean that we have to modify some of our daily habits slightly. In any case, we will feel dissatisfied if we are not following our genius. And as the saying goes, fortune favors the bold. Or at least it tends to favor those who are following their genius. Of course, if you are following your true will, you will have no care for worldly fortune. Henry David Thoreau says, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when it came time to die, discover that I had not lived. I did not wish to live what was not life, living is so dear, nor did I wish to practice resignation unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life, to cut a broad swath and shave close, to drive life into a corner, and to reduce it to its lowest terms, and if it proved to be mean, why then to get the whole and genuine meanness of it, and publish its meanness to the world, or if it were sublime, to know it by experience, and be able to give a true account of it in my next excursion." Walden, A Life in the Woods. One of the most important insights on the spiritual path, which is also quite shocking and strange when it is first heard or realized, and which must be seen time and time again and really lived out for the mind to truly understand it, is encapsulated in the sentence, "This is it." To elaborate, there are no hidden meanings. You can't get from here to there, and besides, there's nowhere to go. This means that there is no difference between this reality here and the quote-unquote spiritual or true reality. There are, of course, different planes and dimensions and modes of existence, and I am not denying that there is a spiritual or astral reality. But that is, in this case, irrelevant. They are not fundamentally different from our mode of being. They are existence, but in a different packaging. In the end, all of manifestation must come to an end, for new things to become manifest afterwards, and this is true in all realms. Everything flows necessarily, and the only real thing is the flow itself. There is no difference between samsara and nirvana. Both are just states of mind. All that exists is just a flourishing dream of the Godhead. So enjoy the show. And this philosophy or insight is not just found in spiritual literature, but also in existentialists such as Nietzsche or Kierkegaard. Psychedelics, especially psilocybin and mescaline, are very useful in that they elicit this mystical contemplative state, a state in which one does not need to do anything except exist, a state where life itself is overflowing with wonder and novelty. Of course, mushrooms only take you to that place, but they do not show you the path or teach you how to get there. That is meditation's job. I also wanted to comment on another factor which leads people to living lives without hearts, and that is the internet. As I mentioned in the beginning, much online content is simply people doing interesting things which we ourselves would like to do. But instead of actually going out and doing them, we watch other people perform those tasks. Why? Chris Gabriel of memeanalysis has coined and popularized the term parasocial agency for this phenomenon, and I highly recommend that you watch his own video on this subject, link in the description. But in short, using the internet as a simulation of real life is like throwing your time in the bin. You will have gained absolutely nothing, except a bit of entertainment and the lullaby of pixels on the screen to help pass the time, as we usually say. Pass the time to what? You are going to die. Live now. There is literally nothing to lose. Of course, we are deep down afraid of venturing out into the real world and of accomplishing real things, because there is the possibility of failure. But that's life. It's the game we're in, whether we like it or not, so we might as well start playing it. The feeling of exploration which arises from things like video games is a genuine human feeling. How can we get this in real life? By going on adventures, of course. Go for walks with no particular purpose. Explore your neighborhood or town. See what you will find. I promise, and I say this from my own personal experience, that nature always rewards those who are seeking. The journey will be worth it. Slowly, you will come to see that video games are just surrogates for what once was a genuine human experience, of coming to know a place, of becoming intimately connected with it and with the people of it, knowing its lore and its hidden secrets and its unmarked locations. See what you will find. Just give it a shot. I will end this video with the following quote from Castañeda's The Teachings of Don Juan, from which I got the term a path with a heart. Anything is one of a million paths. Therefore, you must always keep in mind that a path is only a path. If you feel you should not follow it, you must not stay with it under any conditions. To have such a clarity, you must lead a disciplined life. Only then will you know that any path is only a path, and there is no affront to oneself or others in dropping it if that is what your heart tells you to do. But your decision to keep on the path or to leave it must be free of fear or ambition. I warn you, look at every path closely and deliberately. Try it as many times as you think necessary. This question is one that only a very old man asks. Does this path have a heart? All paths are the same. They lead nowhere. They are paths going through the bush or into the bush. In my own life, I could say I have traversed long paths, but I am not anywhere. Does this path have a heart? If it does, the path is good. If it doesn't, it is of no use. Both paths lead nowhere, but one has a heart and the other doesn't. One makes for a joyful journey. As long as you follow it, you are one with it. The other will make you curse your life. One makes you strong, the other weakens you. Before you embark on any path, ask the question, does this path have a heart? If the answer is no, you will know it, and then you must choose another path. The trouble is nobody asks the question. And when a man finally realizes that he had taken a path without a heart, the path is ready to kill him. At that point, very few men can stop to deliberate and leave the path. A path without a heart is never enjoyable. You have to work hard to even take it. On the other hand, a path with a heart is easy. It does not make you work at liking it. Carlos Castaneda. Well, thank you all for watching. This is a collection of more or less congruent insights that I've had on this topic, and I hope the video makes sense and helps some of you on your own paths. I do not intend to have a definite opinion or anything like that. It is a sort of balancing act between the true extremes of everything being as we want it and nothing being as we want it. It's important to learn to distinguish between these two types of desire. One is just the friction between the soul and the outside world, as Tarkovsky says in Stalker. The other is something much deeper and more profound and more important. I think I have displayed both extremes in this video. It's up to you to find your own balance. Don't go with anything I say. Find it yourself. Don't worry too much about anything. It is all a divine dream anyway. Let go. It is in letting go that we may finally find. May you all be well, and I hope to see you soon once again.